got
Oh,
tired of waiting on the countdown, so let's just go ahead and get going. We got a special guest with us tonight, someone that Randy and myself has been wanting to have on here for the last year or so, and it's finally worked out where we can. We've got Dr. Rometta Powell-Lee, Mama Ro, as she is known on the campus of Georgia Tech University. She is the mother of Clayton Powell-Lee, starting safety for the Georgia Tech. Going in, it's hard to believe. I can't believe I'm saying this,
I
but going
know.
into his senior year at Georgia Tech. Randy, what you got for us?
I bet you Clayton ain't the only person that calls her mama though on that football team.
Oh no, they all do. And even it started back in rec ball. I became Mama Row in rec ball because the coaches said I took care of all of them. They didn't know that I was much older than they were. They just knew that I would come prepared with a cooler for the kids, a cooler for the adults. I would have snacks, and that's when they started calling me Mama Row when Clayton was 4. And that's when I got that name. That's been 18 years ago. I've been Mama Row.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Randy, I've been at a few of the Georgia Tech events with Mama Roll there, and you're right. It's not Dr. Powell-Lee. It's not Dr. Lee. It's Mama Roll. That's everybody. And when I say everybody, it's everybody. Cameraman, newspaper article writers, everybody's coming through and they're like, Mama Roll, how you doing? They come over and they talk to her. They
Mhm.
Nobody can get by her without stopping and talking to her. So, Mama Ro, thank you for joining us,
Absolutely.
and we want you to come on and talk a little bit about not just Clayton's journey, but your journey as well,
Mhm.
and about the football team, about and your life later on as we get going. But one of the main things is we got young kids and families that are in the process of getting ready to go to college or
Mhm.
start college, and
Mm.
we wanted to get someone on here that has kind of dealt with the NIL process and everything that goes
Mm.
on with that, and get some of your opinion on some of that stuff. So let's start with Clayton's senior year in high school. How did he end up at Georgia Tech?
Okay. It started his junior year, as a matter of fact. We were discussing, oh, we got to hurry and figure out how we can get you to college. What we going to do? We don't have any money saved up. We got to go borrow money, blah, blah, blah. He was always a good player, but he was always underrated. He was always underrated. He was a smaller guy. I never forget when he was 6 years old and he was a corner and he was laying these boys out, and these parents were, he's knocking my boy down. And they thought he was little, so the coaches would send the kids his way, and Clayton was laying them out. And I said, wouldn't stop running his way. So he's always been underestimated, he's always been underrated. So we were so knocked off our feet his 11th grade year, right at his birthday, which is February 24th, he got a phone call. And I got a book upstairs. I can't say who. The first school was, oh God, it's up in Myrtle Beach. I can't think, Coastal Carolina.
Coast to
The
Carol.
very first school. And they call on the phone, Mama, this school is calling. I say, what? And he always tells them, we got to call my mom. So that night we got on the phone with them. The next day, phone call came through. The next day, phone call came through. And to our surprise, and we were just amazed, they rolled in back to back to back to back. In a matter of 2 weeks, we may have had 6, 7 offers. I may have talked to 6 or 7 schools. It was very interesting because when Clayton started in 2022, there wasn't no NIL money. It wasn't like that. The whole thing that we were excited about, and it's really funny because so it kept coming. I'm almost kept coming, and we got up to number 20. I'm like, oh my God, to be such an underrated, underestimated player, and say not highly touted, as they say. They rolled in back to back to back, and then at that time they were in school during COVID. So I was just so proud of Clayton. He had brought home that one semester, it was 6 A's and 2 B's, and then 7 A's and 1 B. And then when I got that 20th football offer, I knew that I was not going to pay for him to go to college. And I went and bought him a brand new car. I said, you deserve this. I'm like, oh my God, it was amazing. And then Tech, believe it or not, was number 20. Um,
Hmm.
they waited around. Was surprised to everybody, but they didn't know. Because Clayton was Powell-Lee, they never connected him to his father. So they never knew that he was the son of the victorious, just big guy on Georgia Tech campus, Gary Lee. They didn't know it. And so they said they were waiting to see exactly certain things about him because his size was small. He said, my mom was 175, right at like 6 feet, 6'1". And they waited and they told us when they finally called him up. And he had told me he didn't want to go to Georgia Tech. I'm not going to stay home. I'm going away. And I just stayed quiet. I just prayed. I called his dad. I said, look at here. I want him to go to Georgia Tech. I don't want him to go away. He said, let's just wait. Let's just see. And believe it or not, his dad didn't even call and put in a word. He just sat back and watched and he waited. And then it must have been in June, they came and they called. He came running to me. Mama, it's Georgia Tech. They getting ready to call us now. I just said, I thought you didn't want to go to Georgia Tech. He just started laughing. He said, Mama, they on the phone. What should I do? I said, I don't know. Let's talk to them. So we got on the phone. We talked to them. Another guy who went to Westlake, who had also committed, who is now though at UCF, Horace Lockett, had already told them that he was considering coming to Georgia Tech. So the night that I talked to Coach Knight, Horace on the other line saying, Clayton, they want you to come. They calling me. They want you to come. They want you to come, man. They want you. And we got on the phone and we told them we think about it and we let them know. And I think that next day or so, we got the last offer because once Tech put out there that Clayton was considering them, it kind of shut everybody down. They really shut down that process. The last school was Tulane, and they were 21. And when Clayton finally said, yes, I will consider committing to you all, Georgia Tech put out a big blast. I got articles still. They had all over the paper. Son of Gary Lee, Clayton Powell-Lee from Westlake High School is going to commit to Georgia Tech. And it shut down our recruitment process. You know, I wanted some more schools to come in, but 21 was it. Tech went out there. They blasted on the airwaves. He was coming, and they shut everybody down. They really cut everybody off. That was amazing because they literally really cut everybody off. We may have had a couple of little calls kind of string through, but they shut it down. So I think in his heart, and I'm going to just tell the truth about this, in my stomach, I rubbed my stomach, me and my niece would tell him every night, your name's going to be Clayton Powell-Lee. We're going to call you CP. You're going to go to Morehouse and Georgia Tech. You're going to be an engineer. And I would tell him this. And it was so amazing because we said it all the time. So I think in his spirit, he didn't realize it was inept. It was ingrown in him because he heard it all his life. As a little boy, I got a picture of him on the game with a Madden football game in his hand and a Georgia Tech hat on. And he might have been about 8 years old. So when he was saying he didn't want to go, I was just stay quiet. I didn't say anything. So the amazing thing was the Morehouse part, my parents, my daddy and my brother went to Morehouse and Gary went to Georgia Tech. To be an engineer, you can go to Morehouse and dual enroll to Georgia Tech. So I was saying you're going to go to Morehouse, Georgia Tech, blah, 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 and be an engineer. So we didn't get our Morehouse part. He did tell everybody, I'm graduating from kindergarten and I'm going to Morehouse College. So Morehouse was in his heart from when he was 5 years old. But Tech came through and that was all she wrote. That was all she wrote. That was it. And he was committed and has been committed ever since.
It's amazing that once somebody commits, it just kind of shuts everybody down. You would think that they would even
come harder.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, it seemed like
Yeah.
that they would kind of, my words was put more pressure on, but
I think
yeah,
now they do. They probably would because you got NIL money. I'm telling you, we didn't have that. That's why I started and I jumped to the thing. We didn't have that. The big thing, like I say, why I bought the car, we knew that we had tuition paid, we had room and board paid, and they had a small stipend. We were excited about that. It wasn't a whole lot, but he could save so much money. He wasn't able to get the Hope Scholarship and the other, he wasn't able to get those because of the scholarship that he had. And he couldn't get the Zell Miller because of my income. So we were knocked out of that. So he had a stipend that he saved money from, but they paid his room and board. And he had a full tuition paid. So we were excited. Wasn't NIL in 2022.
right. Well, let's move.
He really was truly the last recruited in the model that existed in college football for so many years.
Yeah, that's very
Where,
true. Class of
where
2022,
yeah,
2022.
and then and by 23 and 24, it
It
was
just,
about the NIL dollar.
yep, exactly. Exactly. So now they put pressure. I've had schools in the off season. Oh, my phone was ringing off the hook. Schools calling. I have MOUs for so much money, it would have your eyes buck out, you know, to get him to leave Tech to go. But he's true blue. Of course, we thought about it. He anticipated it. But in his heart, I started this defense right here I got going on, and I'm going to stay here and stick it out and see it through. So he was excited about that. Plus, a lot of you all don't know, and I feel sorry for these kids and these parents need to know. Y'all might hear that thunder. It's really thundering. When these kids transfer from school to school, they lose credit out. So
Yeah.
people don't realize that. So those guys that are jumping around for the dollar, they're losing credit hours. Don't let anybody fool you to tell you a tale. It's the truth. Where they were trying to get him to go, they would only have accepted 60 of his credit hours. Where he had about, I think, 80 and getting to be a senior, he would have to go there. I don't care how much money it was. He would have to go to that school and go back and start over junior year. So these kids, you guys that are getting all this money, they probably won't ever graduate because they go from school to school, they lose credit hours, and then they got to start all over again, unless they have red shirt years. And in our case, Clayton didn't have, he's a true senior. He's only two true seniors on the whole Georgia Tech football team. That's him and a guy named Rodney Shelley from Langston Hughes High School here in Atlanta. The only two true seniors on the whole team. And they don't have any other years. They don't have a red shirt year. But say had he had a couple of extra years up under his belt that he could use, it'd have been different. But these kids jumping around, some of them are red shirt players, and so they have an extra year or two. But at the end of the time, if they keep jumping around, they constantly losing credit. It's kind of difficult for them, and the parents don't think about that. They're looking at the almighty dollar because education may not be, in their soul. It may not be in their spirit. It may not be what their family strives for. And being an academic family like we are, that was the first thing he said, Mama, I would lose this. I would lose that because I want to graduate. So I was so proud of him with that, to turn down or to not even consider big 7-figure dollar promises. And I mean on paper promises to stay at Tech because he loved it, but also realizing that I could lose. I don't have no more years of eligibility. How am I going to school? So you're going to be a dropout. You're going to play, and then you're going to have 2 more years to go to school, and they don't pay for you because you don't have any more football eligibility. So it's a lot to think about. These parents have got to really be smart and think about the kid, what their future is. We've always had a plan A and a plan B. The NFL is our dream, our aspiration, our goal, but you got to have a plan B because everybody can't go. Everybody's not selected. So it's important for these parents to understand that this money is all glory. It looks good, but at the end of the day, what's the most important thing? Is it the child's future, or is it just about that dollar? And I hate to say it, most of these parents chase the dollar.
That money could be gone in a year or two.
Exactly.
Where Clayton is going to graduate with an engineering degree from Georgia Tech. That is money in the bank every way.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Could I ask, and I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but and I don't want dollar figures, but how many offers did you have for him to transfer out before his senior year?
3.
Okay. I know a couple of the places because you told me one time where it was, but you didn't tell me dollar amounts. But I didn't know exactly how many places, and but that shows you right there that the young man that you raised has got a good head on his shoulders because a lot of other kids would have, like you said, jumped for the
Yeah,
money.
the parents too. I was told by several people, "Girl, you crazy." I said, "No, we are not." But a lot of those people, like I say, they have more years of eligibility because they redshirt. And they said, "I would go and do it." I said, "Yeah, because you got 2 more years to play, so you got time to transfer and still go to school and play." But at this point in time, that is not the case. And in his heart, bottom line, even his agent said it, in his heart, Tech's in his heart. So people dangle stuff in his face, but at the end of the day, you want to start what you finish. You know, he's had a very blessed, phenomenal career at Tech. It's been, you know, back and forth because, you know, we've had so many different coaches. Um, it has been trying, but it has been still, he has flourished in the environment. He is a determined, hard worker and has never let him down. You know, he came in, started freshman year, and that was a blessing. He was given the red shirt, very honestly. We had to talk him out of it. And the game that he would have redshirted was the game that, unfortunately, Jay King broke his leg and Clayton came in and started the rest of the year. And then the next year, Jay King came back, and we love Jay King. He's been a very instrumental mentor for CP. Like he said, "Mom, I miss Jay King in the room." He said it the other day, and he came back. So you know, they say just because you're injured, you don't lose your starting position. So they rotated Clayton and Jay King and started both of them back and forth and back and forth. So he had to go through that. And then last year, he was the starter and did it. And he's had to bring along a lot of guys. And they have a great uh, DB room, a great DB room. They're close. They have been together for a while. And they brought in a lot of freshman guys that are trying to blend in and do well. So he is the leader of that room. With him and Mari Harvey, Omar Daniels, and Rodney Shelley that are the leaders of the DB room.
Randy, before you get started, Mama Rowe is naming players that Coach Key probably can't even name because she knows them all.
He knows them. No, he knows them. He knows them, and the new defensive coordinator knows them too. I just read an article today somebody put out, and he talks about, you know, he even had an interview. Clayton had a nice interview, and I can't think of the new coordinator said, when I get on that field and I see Omar and CP coming, he said, I know we're gonna have it. They're good examples for the new freshmen. They're things they can look up to. They have experience. They are veterans, and I feel comfortable when I see them coming. So Key knows him well. And like I told, I had to tell Coach Key, remind him, Clayton was Coach Key's first freshman All-American. He was the only freshman All-American at Tech in 2022. And he came in after that fifth game. Like I said, he still was All-American under you. So Clayton was Coach Key's first freshman All-American. He definitely knows him. He was his first DB of the week. And the thing I was so proud of Clayton was he didn't share that. Most of the guys had to share their position. Clayton was the only DB of the week he was the DB of the week. It was only CP by himself. And so he had a lot of things in his favor. So I told God, I know you won't bring him this far to leave him now. So we're praying for that to continue to go on.
Go ahead, Randy.
No, I just want to make a point, and I'd like to hear Dr. Rowe talk about this. Georgia Tech was in a state of flux. Things had been bad for a couple of years when CP signed there. Was there a little that y'all had to look at the program and go, well, what can it be down the road, not what it is now?
Yes. We have to look at it to say what is going to be down the road. He came in as a 3. We had some good players. You just got to have good players on both sides of the ball. So he came as a 3. He was a 2 before spring. He became a 2. I mean, in spring, he didn't come to the fall. So by the end of fall camp, he was a 2. So he was right behind the number 1 safety. That line that we've had 2, 3 guys that have gone to the NFL since then. But I'm gonna say it, and they may break my neck, and they my babies too. They were doing okay, but when CP came in and started doing all that tackling and going on, that line picked it up. But we just had a weaker offense at the time. So then the next year we had a okay offense, defense, all those guys left. So the linebackers and everybody left. We had to bring up new people. So then we became a little bit more weaker. And then the last year, I think both were very strong. I think both the offense and the defense stepped up and were very strong. A lot of, and I may get choked, a lot of our problems wasn't was just not the players, it was the calls that were being made. You know, the parents always fuss about that. And why was this called? Why was that called? And then we had a lot of injuries, very important injuries with our quarterback. And he's very good. And we have a sophomore now, or just a redshirt freshman that I just think is going to be just, oh my God, fantastic, who's coming up. And he is going to be right behind Haynes King. His name's Aaron Philo. He's from Atlanta, well, from the outskirts. He is just awesome. And I tell him every week, I tell his mama, I love Haynes. Me and his family have gotten close through these last couple of years. So where we have two very strong quarterbacks, I pray every day for them to stay healthy. It's funny because before every game, I go down and I go to the 50-yard line or wherever I am, and I pray for the 5 straight minutes, 30 minutes before the game starts. And my main prayer, not just for Georgia Tech team, but for the other team, injuries are something. And when they happen, they can be a drastic one or they can be a simple one. You know, you never know. And that's the biggest concern that we parents have for these kids. So last year we were plagued with a lot of key injuries. And I think even through those key injuries, the way we came out great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Philo, the one that you're talking about, he came in for Haynes last year, and
yes,
he played extremely well against.
Very confident. Very
I can't remember
confident.
who it was, but he stood there and he
Good
played
there.
very well. And
North Carolina State, I want to say, because he ran touchdown and he's very confident. He's very poised in the pocket. He's learning to run. He's a thrower. He can throw. So now he's having to learn how to, okay, your line broke down. You got to run. So I was so proud of him. He ran a few times and made a touchdown one time. So he is going to be great next year. This is Haynes last year.
Mm-hmm. So you're at every game, every home game, every away game. How does that work out? Do you have to buy the tickets for the away games, or are they kind of like, do you get 2 tickets for away games as well?
We get 4 tickets for every game if you are a travel parent. I mean, if your child travels. So every player gets 4 tickets for the home games. If you're not on the travel team, you don't get tickets for the away games. But your parents not going to probably come because you're not going to be playing because you don't travel. So when you go away, every player still gets 4 tickets.
Okay. Because I know you are excited about that trip out to Boulder, Colorado that's going to be taking place in about 3 weeks, I think it is.
It's going to be exactly a month today. 1 month today. Absolutely. Yes, I've had that ticket since March. In fact, we have 5 away games. I have 4 of the tickets. I haven't gotten my Boston College ticket yet. That's for November. That's the only one I don't have.
You know, Randy, when I first started talking, well, I've known Momma Rowe for years and years, but when Clayton was thinking about which college to go to, I think Illinois was one of the choices.
Yeah.
And she said, he's not going to Illinois. It's too cold for me to go and sit outside to watch the ball games.
We went to Kansas State
somewhere in the South.
Yeah, we went to Kansas State too. It's cold up there. We went out there.
I remember talking to him in first time we had him on. He talked about he really loved Kansas State at one point too.
It was nice. It was very nice. A very nice visit.
So
very nice visit.
With Clayton and Georgia Tech going out to Boulder and Clayton be a DB and everything, playing in front of Dion, not really a hometown guy, but a former Falcon. We know that y'all are Falcons fans, you know.
That's right.
Do you think he's kind of amped up for that, to be able to play in front of Dion?
Yes, he said, I never forget back his sophomore year, going to his junior year, he said he had a dream. Dion came trying to ask him to come play for his team. And then, believe it or not, a friend of mine came to me and said that once they found out, the coach that one of my friends is a NFL agent, knew Clayton. Why you didn't tell me, we need a DB? He said, no, he's at Tech. So they did show a little interest, but of course he is. I'm concerned about Dion. I'm wondering if he's going to be on the sideline at that time. They were talking about it. today, and they talked about it this morning. So I'm waiting to hear how he is going to recuperate and be able to be on the sideline. That's going to be something. I mean, that's going to be very important to the team too.
It's also not a friendly type of cancer to be in. I mean, he had his bladder removed.
Right.
Let's pray for Dion.
Yes. After, when I saw that, and they said the cancer was all gone. That's what they said to him.
Yes.
The doctor said, we got it all. The cancer is gone. Like you say, your whole bladder is gone. I'm just happy they found it and were not able to make it spread. So for them to say the cancer is gone, that's a plus. He may be over there. He may be a little weak, but because he's had other things done. He has, I think, a diabetes and had some toes removed. He's a trooper because he came back out there after having some toes removed last season.
Dion is someone we love to hate,
right?
Playing against, but you want him on your team when you played against him.
That's right. That's right. I agree. I do agree. So blessings to him. I pray for him and hope to see him on the sideline 1 month from today.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you feel? You've been season ticket holders for the Atlanta Falcons for years and years, and that's how we got to know each other. How did it feel when you first went to the Benz to watch a Georgia Tech game and see Clayton come running out of that tunnel on something that y'all go to every Sunday?
Yes, he was just, oh my God, he's a freshman too, so he was just thrilled. It was something for him. He said, I can't wait to see the locker room. We couldn't wait to get in the locker room. He was very excited, and it really brought chills to me. And he did play, because that was his freshman year, and he played Clemson there, and he got in there and got some good old hits. But that's when Jeff Collins wasn't really playing any freshmen. So they let Clayton get in for a couple of hits. He came in, made tackles immediately, and then he pulled them out, So he was so frustrated by that. And they did it every game. He got to play, so he had to actually, if he was going to redshirt, he would have had to redshirt after that fourth game because he had been in every game. They started him and Rodney on special teams, and Clayton got in on defense a couple of times every game. So, yeah, but he was it was a victory. I got pictures of it. He got pictures of the locker and everything. When he got, they sent it to me. Look at my locker. So it was very exciting. Very exciting. I wouldn't mind if he went to the Falcons. I know he needs to get back with Momma for a change and go somewhere. But that would be wonderful. We have a great family friend in AJ Terrell, so he has had influx with that too.
I'm 4 weeks from being in the dome to watch my Vols play, and I've already heard the young man that play at Tennessee talk about how excited they are to go down there and play. I think
Are they playing? Are they playing Syracuse?
We're playing Syracuse.
I have a mother of mine in a chapter with me whose son plays for Syracuse.
I'm on my way. I can't wait. We played North Carolina State down there a few years ago, and it's special to see your college team. Couldn't imagine my son, but it's just something special to see.
Yeah,
we're Falcon fans, but to see your college team then on that field just means just the world.
And this year, we got that big game at the end of the season there.
Momma.
Don't like them either. Dr. Pat, we don't like them either. You can say it.
Momma Rowe is big time when they go over to Ireland and play, and she ends up on the field after the game. And she's big time when she goes to Syracuse, and they play in Syracuse last year, New York, and she gets her picture made with Seamus.
Oh yeah, we did.
What time were you up there, Dr. Rowe?
Say what?
What time of year were you up there at Syracuse?
We just were there last year.
It was like the second or third game of the year.
Yeah, because we went early. I went early. We stayed a whole 4 days, me and one of the other players' moms. And we got to go in there before the game and take pictures of the stadium. We rode all around to see what was going on. So it wasn't cold, but it's inside and it was raining. And it was raining. It was a rainy day. I remember that. So it was toward the beginning of this. I can't really tell you when, because I go to so many games. It's just out. It's been crazy. because after his freshman year, I did miss 2 games. So in his whole 4 years, I missed 2 games. And that was only because he wasn't starting. And I didn't plan to go to Pittsburgh. And I didn't plan to go to Virginia Tech. And the Pittsburgh game was the game that he came in and started the rest of the season and got a fumble recovery and an interception. And then got Virginia Tech and got a fumble recovery. I'm like, I won't miss another one. And ever since that, I have not missed not one more game. I don't care where they go. I'm not missing any more games.
Dr. Rowe, I remember I went to Syracuse in '99 with Tennessee. We played up there, first game of the year. I just like to point out to everybody listening, it is called the Carrier Dome, and they ain't got no air conditioning in there. Because it was about 90 degrees that day. And I don't guess they need air conditioning in Syracuse, but it was miserable.
Well, I guess it wasn't that hot for us. I guess I don't know what it was because
muggy for us.
You're right. It wasn't that muggy that game. So it must have been a cooler day, but it was prettier in the daytime. The game day, I think it was rainy. I think it was raining.
It was. It
Mm-hmm.
was. So you mentioned something earlier, AJ Terrell being from Westlake,
Mm-hmm.
Clayton being from Westlake, AJ's little brother being from Westlake.
Yes.
Westlake is like the cornerback or defensive back high school of Georgia, it seems like. All DBs come out of Westlake.
Yeah, it has been quite a few. It's been quite a few.
And they still get together during the summer and do some workouts. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then we had, and this year, in fact, I've been on the Westlake board for years. We call it the Dream Team because we brought back the Booster Club, and this is the first year after Coach May. I love Bobby May. We started a thing called Legends of the Lake. And so we would bring back all the legends, and we probably had about 50. We have a big banner with all the names on it. And we would have at least 25 of them at this camp we would put on for kids. So this is the first year that the weather got bad and they didn't have the Legends of the Lake. But that's been a thing that I think is wonderful. You get to bring back the legends. You get to bring back the guys who either are still playing pro or are no longer playing pro, who have retired from professional football. And even Cam Newton, and that's the quarterback, but Cam Newton came out of Westlake. He came back, he didn't come back last year for last. And he's tried to help do some support. And AJ has been tremendous in supporting Westlake. The Falcons came in. We got a golf cart that says Falcons on there. He's come in and helped do a lot. He's put a lot of, they say pay back or pay for. He's done a lot of that because he has really put his money where his mouth is and supported Westlake High School.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. So it's going to be my last question about Georgia Tech and Clayton and everything. I've been reading a lot. Of course, we keep up with CP on here a lot. I'm part of the family group chat, and I read everything you send. And for your information, everything I get, Randy over there gets it not long after I do.
Okay.
I may not be in the family chat, but I know everybody.
Very good.
And I've been reading on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and it seems like very high expectations this year for the Georgia Tech squad.
Yeah, it is.
Does Clayton kind of tell you the same thing?
He doesn't talk about it. He's a different kind of fella. They started fall ball really yesterday. We got together Sunday. We spent the day together. And then he was like, Mama, I'm getting ready to get started. He gets real serious. He won't really talk about it. His whole thing is, I got to get out there and do my job. That's how he puts it. I don't ask him nothing about it. I don't question him much about it. Like before a football game, a lot of those kids come over and be, hey, Mama, hey, Mama. I can't let him come and talk to me before a game. He gets in his zone, and I see him running around the field with his headphones on, and he does not come over and speak to me. He gets zoned. So he is a very disciplined guy, and he has his own way of doing things, and I've had to accept that. And I'm like, why you don't come speak? Mama, I got to get myself, prepared. He was the first one, and I'm laughing now because everything you see talking about the mindset. 2 years ago, and I fussed about it because he said it's the mindset, and somebody said, no, it's not about the mindset, it's blah, 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 blah. But now what's the word you see everywhere? the mindset. And he started telling him, it's the mindset. You got to get the mindset. So he gets his mind focused and he's tunneled, and that's it. That's it. I think last year, one of the first couple of times I've been able to get him, because every stadium we go to, I'd make y'all laugh. I don't sit with the family because they have terrible seats. I go down to the 50-yard line. I go to the 50-yard line everywhere they go. And I get bumped around a little bit, but I don't care. I go to the 50-yard line. I go right behind them. And half the time I'm able to stay for mostly all of the game. And the parents love it because I have all my Georgia Tech stuff. I have my little rah-rah stuff. I have my pom-poms. And we go. And they just laugh. And I'm just hollering, screaming, yelling, and running around. And the other team parents get into it, and they love it. And they start watching him. Your son needs to come just in the death. They just like, yes, it's really amazing because I guess I become contagious. And the parents from the other teams start watching him and talking. That's a good player. He did good. You know, it's really something that you get into it. I get chills now just thinking about it. I love it. I just truly love it. I can't bring anybody with me to a game that's going to expect for me to pay them any attention. I get into it. They tell me the Georgia Tech alumni sit beside us, you need a megaphone. And some that I don't even know, they notice me, they find me when we're out of town, they'll come and find me, they send me pictures because I've been sitting in the same seat every year. And praying for I had the same seat again. That's row 1, seat 1 through 4 is where I've been for the last 3 years. Hopefully I will have the same seat. And the people that sit beside me, because they've been alumni, they've been sitting there. So we have become a family. It's become a family thing. So I just really
we know
love
how
it.
that's like in Atlanta, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I went to the bowl game this year, Randy. And you know that I went to the bowl game, and I text her. I said, "Hey, where are your seats at?" And she texts me the seats, and I get down there, and Sepidah's there, and I'm like, "Where's Rometta at?" They're like, "Oh, she don't ever sit in her seat. She's over at the 50-yard line. She's over there."
50-yard line.
And so I
I
stood
sure
there
do.
forever until nearly the game started, and I never saw her because she
I
never
don't
came to her
come.
seat.
I don't come. I don't sit down. So we're always off to the side somewhere, and I get right down there at the 50-yard line and I get right up front. And most of the time people don't come. And then if they do come, I just move to the next seat. I move to the next seat and they just laugh. This is my seat. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I move to the next seat. But I've been very fortunate all these years. I'm usually able to pretty much stay around that area. I need to stay around the area. So no, I don't. I sit my friends down if they travel with me, and then I go to the 50-yard line. They all know, where you going? You know where I'm going. I got a couple of mamas now go with me. They'll come with me. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Um, Georgia Tech is huge to your family. The city of Atlanta is huge to your family.
Mm-hmm.
Your family is huge to the city of Atlanta, with your father coming in with being a optometrist and everything. Tell us a little about that, if you would.
Well, I'm gonna say the biggest thing is my mom. My mother was the first Black judge of any court of record in the state of Georgia. And Mama has a building, the juvenile court. It's the Fulton County Juvenile Court. It says the Judge Rometta Powell Juvenile Justice Center. So Mama is, and because she's been gone 35 years, July 20th, 35 years. So thank God the juvenile court is still the Judge Rometta Powell Juvenile Justice Center. And believe it or not, Clayton has her in his soul. Never forget, she's born August the 3rd. She has a birthday coming up. And when I was having him, I'm screaming, hollering, yelling, Mama, Mama, Mama. And Clayton came out 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Her actual birthday was his birth weight. And so it's been an amazing thing. He got to be with my daddy, and daddy is what made him understand is academics before athletics. And that's where Clayton has gotten that foundation. And it's in him, it's in every thread of his soul. So when all that other stuff started coming around, he like, I got to get my academics. I've got to graduate. I've got to do this. And so Dad, when he came along, he was a big civil rights person. Mama was a civil rights attorney, so they were working side by side. He was a civil rights attorney. He was the vice president of NAACP. And so they were so instrumental politically. And Daddy being the optometrist, he might have been the second Black optometrist here. And then he was the founder of the National Optometric Association. Him and John Howlett out of Richmond, Virginia. They're both deceased. Dad has been gone 5 years this year. And so he was instrumental in all of that, getting it started, starting that foundation. And believe it or not, he was the first optometrist, anybody other than a physician, to be the director of the Southside Comprehensive Health Center. So he had a lot of accolades too. They were, back in those days, Black people really pushed to be great. They would push to do things. They would push to just be astronomical. They would push to have their name in lights because they had to. And you had to be good. You had to be smart. They were both Morehouse Spelman people. So that is the foundation of most Black families around the country. The AU Center being Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark Atlanta University, which was Clark College when we went to school. So you have most of your people out here in this world who are movers and shakers. They're from the AU Center. You will see that. So when they came along back in civil rights time, and Daddy came out with M.L. King, they were in the same class. That was their journey. That was their journey. So being here in Atlanta and Mama being from Atlanta, Daddy's from Dothan, Alabama, but he came when he was 13. Mama's from here. And they went to Washington High School, so they did all of that. So they were a political family. So we've been on a political journey our whole life. And they both were very instrumental in Black Atlanta.
And your dad, first of all, your mom, I've read some stuff on her. What an incredible lady she was. And she got elected. Was it in the 60s that she was elected?
Well, she wasn't elected. She was actually appointed by the governor.
Yeah,
the governor appointed her in the 70s because let's see, it might have been when I came out of high school in 76. She was there in 72. So it might have been like 68. And then she was there until she passed in 1990. But she went from that to be a referee first, and then she became a judge. She was first a referee, was like the judge ad hoc. And then she became the judge. Mm-hmm.
And something I found, just your dad really found a mentor relationship with some of the leadership of Morehouse, and that Spelman is really ingrained in your family.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You blinked out. What did you say?
Did you go to Morehouse Spelman?
I went to Spelman. Yeah, my brother went to Morehouse. I went to Spelman. My dad went to Morehouse. My mom went to Spelman. So we are straight Morehouse Spelman. If you take it any further, Omega Delta family, Omega Psi Phi and Delta Sigma Theta is our sorority and our fraternities. And Clayton did just pledge Omega Psi Phi at Georgia Tech last year. So we have a long lineage and legacy.
And didn't your dad have to leave the Atlanta area to get his optometry school in?
Yeah, because they didn't have it here. He went to Illinois College. So he had to go, he went from Morehouse to Illinois College. So he was in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And then came back home.
And Howie, I'll go back to you. I thought this was the most incredible thing I've ever heard. Martin Luther King was your dad's campaign manager when he ran for school president back in high school. Is that true?
That part I don't know. Look, Daddy has a book, by the way. My dad wrote a book. He wrote it when he was 90 years old. It's called Dr. C. Clayton Powell and the Real Atlanta. So it tells you all about all that stuff, all about their civil rights days. It talks about his college. It talks about him being on a tobacco farm when he was in Connecticut, when he was in optometry school in Illinois. He had to go to Connecticut in the summers and do the tobacco farm. So it's all in that book. It talks about Atlanta's politics from the ground up. So it's called Dr. C. Clayton Powell and the Real Atlanta. Yeah.
I love it. I read just a blurb. I didn't get the book, of course, yet, but I found a blurb on the internet, and I got to that part, and I had to look at it 3 times. I was like, oh, he was still in high school? And he was like, yeah, he was running for school council. So I thought that
he was the president. He was the president, and my mother was the president in her senior year. They were a year apart, and then they didn't date back then. They didn't date till they came back as professionals. They didn't even date at Morehouse and Spelman. So Mama was the president of her class, and then the following year, Daddy was the president of his class.
Incredible. And was your dad able to see Clayton at Westlake and start his athletic journey?
Absolutely. He had a stroke, but his wife would bring him to the games. My brother would bring him to the games. So Daddy was sitting right there in his wheelchair, sideline, right at all the Westlake games. He passed away Clayton's junior year. So Clayton had a football game the day my daddy passed, October 23rd, and I made a mistake. And we have a family chat, and I put on our family chat that Daddy had passed. And I thought Clayton didn't know. And then I get to the game, and he blows me a kiss, and I was like, okay, you know. And kind of find out he had read it, and he said, I'm playing this game for my grandfather. So Daddy didn't see his senior year. He was there until his whole junior year. So he didn't go about he didn't get to be a part of all of the recruiting because he passed in October and the recruiting started that following February. But Clayton say he feels them all the time. He talks about him a lot. I said, I felt granddaddy. So, you know, I'm so happy that he was able to really touch my dad. My dad was able to really touch him and to have some of the real power legacy. He knows all about Momma, and he was about 6, he must have been 6. And they went at a place called the Apex Museum down on Auburn Avenue. And they went there from a school called IPI on a field trip. And the lady said Clayton ran and snapped and jerked her dress. My grandmother's over there. And people like, how do you know? I don't know. He went and showed them how his grandmama on the wall. They had a picture of her on the wall talking about, you know, all her accolades. And they were so surprised. They were like, Rometta, how did he know? I said, I do not know. But he went over there and saw his grandmama on the wall and went and jerked her dress and said, that's my grandmama over there. They were so amazed. So he has been a blessed child. He's been a very blessed child. We got some great angels watching over him. We pray to them. I pray to them all the time and say, God, you and Mom and Dad need to continue to watch over him and get him on to the next phase in life that I'm sure you have planned for him.
You know, Howie, I'll come back to you. I just want to say and thank you. It's been a pleasure to have your time, but it has been more than an honor and more than a privilege. We get to talk to a lot of young men on this network, and your son leaves an indelible impression on you once you meet him and you talk to him, and you have been blessed with a wonderful son.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And speaking of the family heritage and everything, and if people's wondering, I call him CP3 because he's the 3rd generation of Clayton Powell, or the 3rd name of the Clayton Powell.
That's right. That's right.
After your dad, your brother,
right.
Him.
That's right.
And that's, you know, that's I've met most of your family, and
Yeah.
we consider them our family now. And
That's right.
and you know,
and you come to everything, y'all. Howie has been one of the best supporters. I told him, I said, Clayton, he's coming. He's like, what? I said, yeah. And we turned around and Howie is there. So Howie had to watch Clayton when he was like 4 years old at the Falcons game, run up and down the aisles, throwing the football. And that's how we met, because I think he's like, who's this little boy? And Clayton he watched the game. And he'd go into the little alcove and throw the ball to himself, catch it, run down the thing. And everybody, they didn't bother, let him do it. They didn't bother him. They let him run back and forth. So for years, Clayton ran back and forth, in and out of each gate, running around, throwing the football to himself at the Falcons game. He grew up, I was pregnant with him in Falcons games. So he grew up in the Dome and then came over to Mercedes-Benz.
Absolutely. You know, I tell everybody, they're like, how did you become a Georgia Tech fan? And I tell everybody, I'm like, the people sat beside me, my Falcon family, they had a little boy that when they got transferred, I'm not sure exactly how you got in our section there, but you did. And when y'all came over, and y'all had 8 seats, 4 right beside me and 4 right behind me.
That's right.
And Randy, here's something that a lot of people don't realize is she would make sure that she took CP3 to church first, and then they would come to the game. And they were some of the sharpest dressed people that came to a Falcons game. Clayton had his little shoes on, his little Sunday shoes, and dressed up and everything. And Rometta sometimes would come in with her Sunday's best on.
Yeah.
But when they came in, he was holding a regulation size football, trying his best.
Sure would.
He was so small he barely could hold it, but he would play in that breezeway during the whole game.
He sure would. And that was him. I told him, I said, you know, you did that. I gave him the option as a kid, basketball, football, baseball. He he had a little baseball swing hit thing in here, but he never wanted to play baseball. He cried one time. I was gonna make him play baseball, but he played basketball, football, and always did track in middle school, and he did football and track in high school. But I rolled over in the bed onto a football. He was 3 years old. I'm like, what is behind my back? So it has really been him, and I had to remind him suddenly we were talking about that. I said, I didn't make you do this. I gave you a football, a basketball, and baseball, but in the bed with you, you would have a football.
And back to, go ahead, Randy.
I had a dancer till the 6th grade, and then all of a sudden she discovered sports, and then last year she got to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, as soon as she got that football, it's over. We quit.
Really?
We quit dancing. We quit everything.
Oh,
We quit football. And in the fall, we're a team athletic trainer, a student trainer for the boys football team. So
okay.
we football year round around our house. So.
I understand. That's why I tell everybody. Even in high school, I only got 2 months off, and that was April and May. And that was dealing with, May and June, because we had track at the end of basketball. So we went from football to basketball to track. And I was at everything, going back and forth. So I got 2 months off every year when I had to do any sports. And then we were doing personal training and gymnastics. So I had to keep him busy and keep him limber. I said, when you go on the football field in the fall, you're going to be the only one in shape. And he'd be the only one in shape. Everybody had to be walking around, drudging their head, out of breath. And because he was doing gymnastics, he'd be out there still fully energetic and able to do it.
Dr. Rowe, you're going to hear my most famous saying, and I say it to everybody. Good kids grow up at the football field and the baseball field and in the gym. So take your kids, spend that time with them.
That's right.
Sports, and those kids will find it a love and a lifetime. So I am very proud to say I am a parent that has let my kids grow up at the fields.
That's right. That keeps them busy too. It keeps them out of trouble. Keeps them busy. And it keeps them focused. They want to be good because they know if they be bad, you can't play on the team.
That's it. And keeps the because my daughter, hey, we fight. We have to pull the boxing gloves out if it gets time. But just playing sports and athletics, she's went from a C student to a B.A. student just because she got to have it.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That is right.
And Howie, I've been meaning to ask this. Was there ever a time that you had to bear down on Clayton about his grades, or was he always self-motivated about that?
He would have been pretty much self-motivated, believe it or not. I guess I would spend my time with him. And we were so close because it was just me and him after a while. And we would read at night. He'd be in the bed. We have a book in the bed. He did go to small schools. So we were very fortunate he was able to go to smaller schools. He had like little schools around Atlanta. And he ended up at a middle school that I give credit to a lot. It's called KIPP. It's KIPP Academies. And he was at one called KIPP Strive. And they really instilled in him his learning, his study habits. They had it where they had to come to school, they had folders, and they got what they called Ghanas, which were like plus points. If they had their folders in order, their work had to be in order. And then at the end of the month, they got to go on a trip. If they cut up in school, they couldn't go on a trip. So he was always doing well. And I think when he got to high school, I had to do anything. I said, do you need any help? Do you need having a tutor? How you doing? Even at Georgia Tech, how you doing, Clayton? Are you needing any help? How are things going? He can tell me, but that KIPP gave him study habits and taught him how to align his notebooks and keep up with what was going on. So I didn't have to do anything. I was more worried doing COVID because he'd wake up in the bed and roll over to the laptop. I was like, oh my God. And then he came home with all those A's. I was like, wow. So I think his initial educational environment is what helped with that. You know, he was always with me and we would read and stuff, but being in a school environment where all the kids, no matter where they came from in their background, had the same standards and they had to do well and they got credited for it and they got rewarded for it. And you want to go on a trip at the end of the month. I don't think they can do the same thing now because money is a little bit different. But yeah, it's a charter school and they went every month on the trip. And at the end of the year, a big trip. And if you run in the top 50, you didn't get to go. So he wanted to be in that top 50. So he was always in the top 50 and got to go on the field trip. So I do credit Kip Strive for helping him with his study habits and getting him ready for high school and for college.
I'm sorry, you said another word I think is so important. You said it was kind of a diversified environment there. And I think we go to a school that's that same way. And I think the kids learn to be more interactive and more, free to grow as an adult. So
Yeah.
I think that's very important to have a diversified environment inside your
It
school.
is. It is. And rec ball was diversified. You had some kids out there, man, from all different environments and on the football field at these recreation centers. And I think Clayton can go from the corner to the president's house. He knows how to sit and talk. He can bring out the slang and all that too. With the guys on the corner, he can go over here and talk very intelligent. So he's a very well-rounded kid. And I was the same way, well-rounded. I could fit in every environment because that's important out here in life. You got to be able to fit. You can't sit back and hold your head up high like you're better than anybody. And my mom always told us that. You are blessed. You're not better than anybody else. We were fortunate. We got our education and we did well. And that's why you're able to live the way you live. So we've always not snubbed anybody. We've always looked at everybody as being equal. And the fact that we sat down and did our work to get where we had to go. And you have to do that. A lot of people don't teach their kids that. Kids don't go to school. They sitting at home because they had to babysit their little sisters and little brothers. And that kind of stuff gets to be a little hectic for them. But you gotta let them realize you got to go to school. That's I feel so sad these days when you hear the kids are not. And even these football players, you got a lot of them that they take school for granted.
Amen.
They think, I'm going to the pros, so you go to school and you get to do mediocre. But believe it or not, you can be really, really good unless you just, the bomb, as they say. These NFL teams want to see your academics too. I say that, but our favorite hate school, them boys, I hate to say it, I don't know how they get with them because I don't know what kind of grades they got. But it's important, and I'm glad that at most schools now, especially at Tech, you have to go to tutoring until you prove you don't have to go. So he's had to go to tutoring ever since he was there, and then when he get toward the end of the semester, if he's doing well and he doesn't need it, he don't have to continue to go. But they do put that in place. That was my main question, was academic reinforcement to each school. And they were like, dang, mama. First thing I didn't ask about nothing else. What's your academic reinforcement and what's your mentorship? I asked all those schools that first and foremost, because you get there, they're on their own. They get wild, they get loose, they can hang out. They have nobody giving them a structure. And that was important to me, to hear my 18-year-old child to go somewhere that had to have some kind of structure. Somebody had to be there to make sure he stayed in line. And that was my most important questions with all the schools that came to talk to us.
Dr. Rowe, you ought to write a book on how to do the recruiting process.
How to do the what?
How to do the recruiting process.
I want to, because I tell all of them, I'm the manager. I'm not his agent, but I'm the manager.
Mm-hmm. So since we're on this topic real quick, let me ask you this. For all these kids, we got a lot of kids that some has already gone to college starting this year. Some is fixing to be going to college. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to the parents and to the kid that is looking for a school to go to?
Let me get a pen out before you start.
Well, I told you the main thing was the first thing I asked them. What is your academic reinforcement? A lot of schools he couldn't go to because they didn't have his major. Parents you gotta direct your kids and lead them into what interests them first. When they're in high school, they have career paths in high school now. So if a kid is interested in, like Clayton took a lot of drafting classes, or if you're interested in legal, so they do have career paths, and the kids have to complete their career paths. I'm at Westlake, I'm sure other schools have this too. Then you get a big medal when you graduate saying you finish your career path. So you got to make sure that your child starts out before they go to college. What you want to do? You go to college, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God. You waste so much time, and you may not know exactly, but you want to try to get it pinpointed down. Like my mom always told me, if you like what you do, you'll be good at it. So you got to find out what their interests are. So you make sure that when they do decide to do whatever major it is, they're going to be able to reach for the stars and do well. And then you got to find out what school is going to have reinforcement of the academics, because a lot of schools, I don't know, back in the day, a lot of schools weren't really on top of that. I'm hearing from Clayton's friends, because a lot of them came out of rec ball who play in college football. And I do hear from the parents that now these schools are getting a little bit more structured, they get a little bit more rigid with the academics, and they do follow it. The coaches are now becoming more a part of it. The big thing I'm gonna say that I pride Tech in, and this is why, now we're getting better players. Tech never lowered their standard. They never lowered their standard, they never lowered their GPA. Those players that were coming, they had to have a GPA. And they may have got there and cut the fool and may have lost some of their GPA status. But to get into Tech, you had to have it. And that's why back in the day, I'm gonna just say it, UGA got all the big bad players from all the high schools because they had a lower GPA. You could go there with a 1.8. You can't come to Tech if you don't have a 2.5, 2.7. You can't even come. They don't even look at you. So now these athletes that come out of high school, oh my God, they got great GPAs. So if you'll see Tech is getting these 4 stars, 5 stars because they're smarter now. Somebody has tapped them on the shoulder and say, hey, look, this is your love, but you got to have a plan for this. What if this doesn't happen for you? So Tech is getting better players now. And y'all look at it. It's all over the place. Every year, starting with Clayton's year, 2022 start playing, but they have turned the whole table. And so now we're getting great players, a bunch of 4 stars we have on our team, because the academics measures up. Because Tech did not lower it. They would not lower their standard to get a good player. So those other players at these other schools, our rival schools, who bad, oh, it's the best player out there, they may not have no kind of GPA, y'all. And they show on Twitter and everything the graduation rates and stuff. The whole Georgia Tech athletic department had a overall GPA average of 3.1 this year. I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about the whole entire athletic of Georgia Tech. And so you don't see that. And I think at the end of the summer, it says a 3.2, and that's overall for each and every sport. You don't get that at every school. And so I'm just so proud of these kids that they now are trying to strive. They're trying to reach higher goals and be an athlete too. You got to be a student athlete, and they're doing it. So Tech is coming out good on that end, because now we're able to get those students who are of higher standard on the ratings with the 4-star and all that stuff, who have good academics and good GPAs too. So I'm looking forward to, that's why they got such a high, looking for us to be so good and putting us up there, Howie, because we have these guys. We got a lot of guys, a lot of freshmen that are 4 stars. Yeah.
And a 5-star in Josh Petty, offensive lineman that chose Georgia Tech. And then he was a Tennessee Georgia Tech finalist. And I'll never forget watching his commitment. And he said he wanted to go to school at Georgia Tech. Now, you can see I'm a Tennessee graduate, and I love it. But you know how much I respect a young man, 5-star, one of the top 10 players in America, chooses to be someplace because that's where he wants to be.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And Randy, just to be clear, the GPA is grade point average. I know it took you a while. It took you a year and a half at college to realize that you had to have a GPA.
I have a degree. It's just the people I started with graduated with doctorates, and I graduated with undergrad. So 7 years was well spent to get a degree, and I got it. It's no 3.2 either, but I got it. So
that's right.
Well, Mama Ro, I'm gonna call you out real quick. I'm disappointed in you because we talked on the phone yesterday, and you was like, "Hey, you coming over for Saturday for the first on the flat?" I'm like, "I can't believe you asked me that. You know I'm going to be there.
That's right.
If there's an event going on and Clayton's involved, I'm going to be there. And the only reason that, and we've talked about this, the only reason that I don't go to more games is because they interfere with the Falcons. And
right, and you got to come to town Saturday and be time. Then we had to spend the night overnight to come Sunday. So I understand.
So
I do understand. I want you though to put on your calendar November 22nd. It's senior night. We play Pittsburgh, and I can't remember the Falcons schedule. Because I have to, I'm glad they do this now. I have to turn in games now because I'm out of town. I'm going to miss a great game. I hate it. The Washington Commanders, I'm going to miss them because we'll just be coming back from, I think, North Carolina State game. And I don't come back in till Sunday mornings. And I had to turn that ticket in. I was so disappointed. I'm like, gosh, why that ticket? So I think my Clayton may still have, my brother may still have his. I'm not sure, but I had to turn it in. I know I travel on Sunday, so every game I travel on, I turn in. If the Falcons are playing, I have to turn that ticket in. Yeah.
Hey, we played North Carolina State at the Carolina Panthers Stadium last year.
Okay.
I don't want to say that it's beautiful, but it was beautiful. And I hate the Panthers, but it was a beautiful stadium being downtown Charlotte.
Who did we play that we had to play in their professional stadium? Who was it? Because some team we had to play, and Clayton said that it wasn't all that grand.
When they play Pittsburgh, it's in the Steelers Stadium.
Yeah, that's the game I didn't go to. And Pitt comes to us this year. Because we didn't play Pitt last year at all. We didn't play them. Or the year before. We haven't played them since Clayton's freshman year.
The good thing about something I hadn't told Randy about, but if you can't make it to a game, you can sell the tickets back.
That's what I did, right? That's what I did. I did it last year too. I sold back 5 last year. I only sold back 3 this year.
So you don't get stuck with the tickets and trying to get rid of them. You can sell them back to the Falcons and they'll get rid of them for you.
That's right. That's right. You get the money credited towards your account next year. I like that right there.
Hopefully,
having that money credited.
Hopefully this time next year we can be talking about where Clayton's playing at professionally.
We will be. We will be.
Hey, what if he's a Saint, Mama Ro?
A Saint, oh God. Look, I'm telling you what we said Sunday. Wherever. Wherever. We're not going to say we're not going. Because somebody said, oh, they got somebody at the, it's going to be cold. Clayton said, I don't care. If it's cold there, that's it. Clayton likes playing in the cold, though. He'll be out in the cold with nothing on his arms, believe it or not. I never forget, we did that in high school. It was freezing. And him and Horace had their arms just as bare. I'm like, what is wrong with him? I had on a meat coat.
Well, they did that. They had to do that in Ireland as well, didn't they?
Yeah, but it rained in that game. It wasn't that cold.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that cold, but it did rain on us.
Success anywhere but New Orleans. That's the only thing I'm gonna say in that.
I know, but look, if they gonna up and say, come on, and we in round 2, we going. We going whatever. We praying for one little round 1 or 2. I make it laugh. This whole last draft, his line brother, fraternity brother, got drafted to Miami Dolphins. He went, Bigger. He went late. He was pouting. I'm gonna go get a job. We say, boy, just be quiet, just shut up. And later on that Saturday, he got drafted. But it's an amazing thing that when you go through that with your friends, and they're very, very close. Him and CP are very, very close. So we're like, whatever team wants to come, we want to go. We want to go. So they took a lot. I wrote down every person for the first 2 days, from 1 to like 100. I got every name, number 1, number 2. I got it all written down, and what school they came from and position. And so I said, Clayton, I'm really concerned. They didn't get that many safeties, but they did get a few safeties this year, and they got a lot of cornerbacks. So I was like, wow, they're gonna need some more next year. What they're gonna need next year? So I was looking, they got a lot of running backs, a lot of wide receivers. So I'm like, this year, guys, so what they gonna go after this coming up 2026? And they did a lot of everything last year, a lot of linemen. They drafted a lot of people, a lot of key roles, a lot of them. So we're gonna hope they're looking for some safety. Now we know they're gonna look for some safeties, and they'll be looking for CP Lee.
I went ahead and texted him earlier this year. I said, hey, I want to invite to the draft party. That's all I want. When he has a draft party, I want to invite. So I'm throwing it out to the VP of the Clayton Powell-Lee.
That's right. That's right. That's me.
So I'm hoping that you'll remember.
I won't forget. That's what I'm telling you about the Pittsburgh game. That's senior night. That Pittsburgh game is senior night. And I would like you to come. I got to ask the lady how many folk could come on the field, because the biggest had about 20 people on the field. I don't know if they give us all those tickets or not. So I told her I'm going to start asking now. how many we can invite, and how many tickets do they give us for senior night, so that I can find that out. So you are on my list for that.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I will be seeing you Saturday, first on the flats. For
Okay.
everybody that's wondering,
Yes.
I can't remember the time off the
It's
bat,
11-1, I believe. 11-1.
but we
Something
went to it
like that.
last year. It's a great event. If you're in
It
the
is.
Atlanta area, go to the. It doesn't cost a thing. You get to
Nope.
walk out on the field on Georgia Tech
Yeah.
Bobby Dodge Stadium, Hyundai Field. I
Bobby
think.
Dodd. Bobby Dodd. Mm-hmm. And
Bobby
Hyundai
Dodd,
Field. The Bobby Dodd at Hyundai Field.
Bobby Dodd, a Tennessee grad.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Get him down that way.
Okay. Yeah.
So you get to walk out on the field. They've got entertainment and games and stuff going on.
Yeah.
You can participate in all that. And during a certain time, you can go around and get autographs from the
Yeah.
players.
Autograph sign. Yep. It is
And
fun. It's a lot of fun.
I do have a picture that I'm getting signed for the man over here to the side, Randy.
Okay.
He has mailed it to me, and I'll be getting it this week, and I'm going to bring it. And CP's already said, I text him, and I'm like, "Hey, will you sign this for Randy?" He said, "Sure will." So
But
we're bringing that picture.
did you get Haynes to sign something for you last year?
No, you
Is that
got something to
you?
sign. He signed something for you. You wouldn't let me get nothing from him. You
Oh,
knocked
it's
me
not
out of the
true.
way.
That's not true. I even got him to give you his phone number. I
Uh,
sure did. I
If
sure did. I got Haynes King to stop and talk to Howie and give him his number. Yep. He's
if
a busy guy. He's a busy guy. I can't imagine being a quarterback for a team and you got everybody pulling on you. You know, he has great composure. He has a great family. His father's a coach back in Texas, and they come in to all the games. And his mother is just a gem. So I guess I've gotten to know them and hang out with them a little bit when we're out of town. And they are wonderful. He's a wonderful kid. He's a wonderful kid. Hmm.
a chance for things went bad for him at Texas A&M, he found a home at Georgia Tech, and
Exactly.
that was so important for Haynes because his first start at college football did not go the way anybody suspected it would.
Right. Right. That's
yeah,
right.
he's one of those that was highly recruited NIL before the season, and he chose to stay just like CP3
Hmm.
did. There,
Hmm.
Georgia Tech
Hmm.
had a lot of kids that people were. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it. Georgia Tech had a lot of kids that
Yeah.
vultures were
Yeah.
after
They
to get
were.
to come,
They
and
were.
about 95% of them, or probably 98% of them, stayed.
No, 'cause we lost. No, we lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, about five. We lost about five.
Okay.
About
We
five.
quarterback right in the middle of spring practice.
Say what?
Tennessee's quarterback left, starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah, they sure did. But he didn't fare out too well with
Oh, he
that.
got money by leaving.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't fare out too well. They people look at him like, if you that kind of player, wait a minute, I don't know if I want you on my team. You don't get
You
to walk off the field. Come on now.
Dr. Rowe, when I went to Tennessee, we played Georgia Tech every year, and I missed that game so bad. It was so much strategy. I actually got to see CP3's dad play in Knoxville when Georgia Tech came, and just the car driving around, and I just miss Atlanta to Knoxville was so easy and convenient, and
Yeah, it was.
I love Georgia Tech. I mean, I know I graduated from a different school. I always loved
Right.
Georgia.
I'm a Tennessee Volunteer fan. My brother ended up going into grad school, and I'm a Peyton Manning fan. So there people laugh at me all the time. Oh God. And I'm a Peyton Manning fan, and Clayton is too. We student of the game. That's what Clayton tell you. He's a student of the game, and
Yeah,
I
no,
love it. I used to get upset with some of our quarterbacks because doing it after you have a play and it's over, instead of you going sitting down trying to figure it out, you running around, running your mouth and slapping five. And Peyton would go over there, sit down, get that book out. Oh, I loved it. And so Clayton would tell you he was in the middle. I'm a student of the game
hey,
because we had a playbook beside the bed when they were 8 years old. This guy came and they would say, they can't read this play. They can't do this. They said, what? And they went out and won everything in the city and had a playbook. So when Clay would get bored, I said, get that playbook. He said, beside the bed on his side. You not sleeping there. Open that playbook. That's why he's really good at reading plays now. He really can do it.
But the other school in the state ignores Atlanta often, and a lot of kids go to Tech that are Atlanta natives. We recruit Atlanta very heavily at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgia's had so much success that I think they ignore their backyard sometimes.
Well, I don't know because a lot of they boys are country boys now. A lot of them are real country boys. I haven't been paying much attention to them. They got a Westlake lineman, a big old dude. He like 6'7", big old dude who's going to Georgia from Westlake this year. I can't think of his name right now. Is he an offensive lineman or defensive lineman? I think the offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. He's going to Georgia from Westlake. And I don't know, they recruited him. And he decided to go. I don't know if he left school to go already or not. I'm not sure. But they will have a Westlake person on Georgia on UGA team.
That may be. I know AJ went to Clemson, but
AJ's a Clemson. No, Avion. He's at Clemson. He should come out this year. He'll probably be a 3 and out. They are putting him highly to be drafted this year. He's just a junior. Mm-hmm. He's just a junior.
Come back and let you wrap this up, or we'll keep Miss Dr. Rowe here all night because I'm gonna stop now.
It's almost time for dinner. I got to eat my dinner. Look at my dog. My dog has been so patient over there. She went and sat down.
Rometta, you talking about loving Peyton Manning or liking Peyton Manning and everything. Randy's daughter is named after Peyton.
Oh, Lord, really?
My daughter is Anna Lee Peyton Cunningham.
All right. Okay.
We Tennessee in this house, so we love it. And we love the kids. We don't boo them. We support them. We part of the scholarship fund, and there's a way to be a college football fan when you ain't just up there dogging everybody and mad all the time.
That's true. That's true.
Fan and embrace your school. Win or lose, you can still love your school.
You sure can. I watched them. We had a friend of ours that played Christian Harrison. He's from Atlanta. His daddy's name is Rodney Harrison. Yeah. He's one of the commentators. We're friends with them. But Christian just left. He did 2 years at Tennessee. Now he is in Cleveland, I believe.
Yes.
So I would watch Tennessee games, get to watch him and stuff like that. So I've always been a Tennessee. Except with Clayton my brother going to grad school there, I've always really watched Tennessee for years. We're talking about back in the 70s. Back in the 70s. Mm-hmm.
Season tickets, 34 years. So I'm kind of
okay. All right. I've had Falcons tickets long as about 37, 38 years.
You know, people hate me on Saturday, love me on Sunday.
Yeah.
So you've had them for that long. So you had tickets back in Fulton County days.
In the Fulton County Stadium. I sure did. I was with some friends of mine, and we went to Fulton County Stadium, and my daddy would come and sit in the stadium club. He'd come and sit behind us, and we go in there, and he'd have a wonderful brunch. And we go in there and have brunch with daddy, and then sit out. We sat right outside under the covered area. So we were right up top by the covered area, right outside of the stadium club. Yeah, I went there, and then I came to the Dome, and then I came to Mercedes. So I came home in 1985. I started buying tickets in 86.
William Andrews, James Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
What I grew up on.
Yep.
Football field was half the baseball field.
Yeah.
So, Rometta, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed talking to you. If we can do anything to help you or Clayton out, let us know.
Okay.
We will. And,
yes.
we will. I will see you Saturday. Not sure
all right.
what time, but I'll be there Saturday at some time with Randy's picture to get it signed. So,
okay.
And I had to bring it up because if I just go straight to Clayton, even though he would probably sign it, but if I make sure you know about it, I know.
Yeah, make sure it gets done. Because he gets busy with his fans. Oh, my fan. I'm like, boy, please. We were so excited. The little guy, the spring game came up to him with his shirt on. You saw that little guy? He came down the field. Little young boy. He might have been about 10. Him and his daddy. And he had a number 5 Powell-Lee shirt. We were amazed. I'm like, Clayton, this little boy. He said, Mama. So when I see little kids like that, and you don't know that they know about him, you don't know that. I was somewhere else, and I carry my Georgia Tech little cup. I have this little thing here too. It's a water bottle holder. They had Georgia Tech on it. Then I have another one that has, and I'm all around with this. People are, you a Georgia Tech fan, man? Stop me today coming out of physical therapy. Stop me today about it. And so you find people, and some of them say, I know exactly who he is. I'm like, what? And those fans are fans. You got some Georgia Tech fans that are real, true fans. And they really follow. They really there, like I am, to watch the game. And a lot of women. I'm very surprised. A lot of women fans for Georgia Tech. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're welcome. Come back on anytime. Loved hearing about the history of your family. I know that's one thing that Randy was looking forward to. Hearing about your mom and dad and talking about that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So don't forget Dr. C. Clayton Powell and The Real Atlanta. It's a great book. It's a great read, an easy read and a great read. And you find out about them for real, because his best friend was Senator Leroy Johnson. And he was the first Black senator since Reconstruction. And so they ran the city underground because Uncle Leroy was a Democrat and Daddy was a Republican. That's all in the book. You get to hear about my Republican upbringing. I was at Nixon's inauguration. We were that Republican back in the day. Daddy was a delegate to the convention, and we went to Nixon's inauguration.
You were for Richard M. Nixon.
I loved him. And then it wasn't until years later, as they became all that Tea Party stuff, Daddy started weaning. He thought, oh no, this is going to be ridiculous, and he weaned away and stopped supporting them. Yeah, he did. But growing up, and that was a good thing because the two of them could talk, converse, and could orchestrate things because they were of different parties, but best friends. And that's how a lot of things got done around Atlanta. People didn't know. But that's what they were doing on both sides of the fence. Yep. So I was a political girl. I loved it growing up.
Awesome. Randy's fired up. He's ready to have you back on and ask more questions.
Hey, look, I love the political things.
Do you? Yeah.
Love it. And when you talk about that, that is truly how you get things done. When you get on one side and on the other side that can talk common sense.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thanks for your time. We'll let you go.
I appreciate y'all having me on. I do. Y'all continue to pray for my son. I tell everybody I know, pray for my son, and from your lips to God's ears is what I say.
Amen.
I got that text. I forgot when it was. I said something about this game is going to be the first one that Clayton gets an interception or something like that. And she's like, from your lips to God's ear.
That's right. No, that's what we're hoping for it this year. But it's really weird. I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. Our linebackers are picking up their pace. And a lot of times they snatch down the interceptions. I say, Clayton, you got to go up there and get that. Because those linebackers are snatching those interceptions now. They're not getting back to you. So that's why they had him. And I love that they had him in the pocket. And I'm telling you, two games to watch that show his actual expertise, talent, and diversity is the Miami game and the North Carolina State game. They had Clayton all over the field. He was not just at safety. He was at corner. He was at linebacker. He was in the pocket, out of the pocket. And that's how he was able to sack Brock. He sacked the other boy 2 years before that. He sacked the Georgia quarterback 2 times. He's been able to sack Georgia quarterback. He got a real good one this time.
Yeah.
They just kind of slipped that game out from us. That gives me chills too. So we ain't gonna talk about how they stole that game, but they did.
They did.
They know they did.
They did. Hey, and that's how he gets to NFL, playing a little safety, little corner, being able to go in at linebacker. That's a path.
It is.
All right. Let you go. We can sit here and talk to you all night long. So
I know. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, we will see you Saturday. Looking forward to seeing you and seeing the families there.
All right. Sounds great. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay. Bye-bye.